G'day, mate. Thanks for the comment. So, do dodgy company owners that plan bankruptcy move their properties into family trust to avoid them getting given up to debt collection? So let's unpack this a little bit because this is a process that's referred to as phoenixing. These are individuals that typically set up a company with the intention of winding that company up by committing fraud, avoiding taxes, only to go and set up another company and rinsing and repeating that. This is one of the reasons why the ASIC have implemented the directors register to ensure that they can actually see who has directorships in particular companies and therefore be able to control this kind of activity happening. But what we've also got to realise, and look, I'm not a lawyer, I don't specialise in this field, however, I've seen a number of these cases unfold, so I want to give you a little bit of my experience. What ultimately happens is that if individuals are planning to do these kinds of things and that the debt collectors or the creditors who are chasing them, or potentially even the ATO or ASIC, if they choose to pursue legal action, will essentially look to see if a particular individual has implemented structures like a family trust or other entities to move their assets into that for the purposes of trying to escape situations like this. Now, the powers that be have the ability to essentially look through entities and access specific assets if they believe that those entities were only used to essentially assist in them breaking the law. The additional thing we also need to consider is that in a family trust, an individual can be an appointer, they could be the trustee, or they could be a beneficiary. And depending on the roles that this particular individual may hold who has committed these crimes or done these particular things or declared bankrupt, once again, the entity may also be taken into account because if they have control of that trust, if they've been receiving benefit from that trust, then it creates a very good case that essentially the trust is just holding beneficial ownership of those assets on behalf of that individual, and therefore that's going to get clawed back for the purposes of these kinds of situations. Now, the only thing that these individuals potentially do, and there has been some very famous cases of very wealthy individuals who have gone through this kind of process. And look, people do go bankrupt, right? And if it's outside of their control, but I don't personally think they should lose everything. So there are certain individuals who have high-risk occupations, have taken on a lot of debt, who have done things that basically have overextended their risks, and they've basically been hit with the brunt of that. They kind of knew that these things had a likelihood to happen or a higher likelihood than other people. So therefore, they bought assets in their spouse's name, or they've utilized a strategy known as a gift and loan back arrangement. These are strategies that basically allow individuals to hold an asset, gift it to another individual or entity, loan it back so they can get use of it. However, there is a caveat and a legal process that's involved, quite complicated, in order to protect the equity. So therefore, creditors cannot attack it because it has a second mortgage or potentially a first mortgage if it's unencumbered over it. So there are ways that people can protect their assets, and dodgy people do try and utilize them. But let's hope that the powers that be exercise their powers to be able to get access to those for people who are doing the wrong thing and take them for what they're worth. Great question. Hope that's helpful. Catch you soon.